Never prepared, but always ready.
So
Zach
Kurt
Ackerman.
just asked me a question where my head's at.
Well, so Zach is about to go to school. He took off. He stopped working at the gym, and
I'm gonna stop working at my main job basically too.
which is awesome, I think.
Yeah, that'll be helpful for my mental health. It's a rewarding job. Don't get me wrong. It's been fun and nice, and I love my coworkers. I'm the only guy there, but they're all amazing. Not that changes it. I'm just saying.
Guy there.
Yeah, I know. I think that would cause more problems, but they're actually all very nice to me. So I'm about to go to animation school. It's an intensive 1-year program that, from what people tell me, Vancouver Film School. So it's a well-renowned one. I've been told it's like cramming 4 years into 1 year. So this is going to be a crazy fucking year. So we'll see how this goes. I'm going to be working one day on the weekend. But I don't know. I have a passion in drawing. But where my head's at currently.
Or whatever you want to talk about. Because I always thought...
I think that's a valid question.
Okay. Where's your head at?
Sorry, what were you about to say? Something?
I guess because I always thought... I knew animation, like, you know, at some point for me too, like, I was always like, I didn't think it was even that plausible. That's why it wasn't really like a dream, but it would be a dream if I could like work on an anime or whatever and something, you know, but it would have to be like my anime, like my story and stuff. Like, I don't want to be the guy just drawing, but I know, anyway, that's, I looked it up and I know how all that stuff works.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm more down to like do my own thing in my own way. But anyway, so I know like
I mean, don't get me wrong.
But so I know like that's kind of where you.
But I think you don't have you don't want to put up with having to do that grunt work. That is not your thing.
A little bit, but only because I see the opportunity outside of it is like I can get a lot done without that. But sure. I do obviously romanticize the journey of like, for example, the guy that did Evangelion, like he did the grunt work for Hayao Miyazaki, and then that's how he. I mean,
that's just a one-off. There's also people who are drawing shitty cartoons and they never get out of that. It's just like any industry, you know. It's kind of. Like,
but I guess I just didn't know how much you wanted to be in the like animation industry, more so than like make your own comic, because I thought that's
the thing is that's never gonna stop. For me, I'm always gonna be doing that, and like I we'll see, maybe like this takes away from that, like, and I find like, okay, well, this isn't what I like hoped for. I don't expect every like job I get to be like, you know, super like fun, you know. It's like, here, draw this, I don't know, cartoon.
You have to draw the like plants or something.
Yeah, draw the plants in the back. Actually, I would really have fun with that. But
or you have to do the backgrounds.
Yeah, backgrounds or like clouds only, like you mentioned. Like, that stuff might happen, and maybe I'll find that that's the case. But for me, it's like I want this opportunity to like develop my skills and like just have a year where I'm almost forced to have to only think about this stuff. And I know you could say like you could just take time off and do that, and like the thing is I don't trust myself enough, and like as much as I want these things, like I'll still put time in, but I know there would still be a lot of days where it's like someone would be like, it's sunny out, like let's go hang out, let's go to the beach or something. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I want to do that, you know. And like, and that's where
that's where like I would argue that it doesn't have to be this year, obviously, where you're doing school or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think part of it and this is more advice to like people in general, or like just something to think about, is that I don't know if you've had enough time to figure that out. So I'll give you that example that I've said that I've mentioned to you with Bobby, potentially maybe. But I was talking to him about that, like, you know, what I'm doing, right? I'm taking time off to like focus. I'm basically doing what I was telling you to do. Like, I'm taking this year or this whatever this time to like do what I think I can do and whatever, like try my hand at making videos and all this stuff, whatever. Whereas Bobby, I remember talking to him about this type of thing, like taking some time off to do, like not working, to like do his own thing. He was saying like his experience with that, like his limited experience with that, like he got back from New York or whatever, and he's like, oh, maybe I'll just take like a little bit more time, like a month or so off before I start like working at at a job, finding a job. I can't remember. He's just saying he was going to take a month.
Yeah.
And then obviously he didn't like find that much like motivation to like do stuff. Like he didn't really do that much, and he was kind of like, oh, I just kind of ended up like chilling and spending money and not really doing much.
Yeah.
But I mean, I would argue like a month isn't very long. I think it depends on like the kind of person you are too, right? Like there's people like I don't think me and a lot of my friends are the type of people. I'm trying to think of somebody like I know a few people that are like this, but most of the people like my friends that are not very like I'm not good at like I'm gonna go like 100% like here. And then, okay, once, like, from, like, 8 to 9, I'm going to work out and work out hard. And then from 9 to 10, I'm going to do this for an hour.
I'm not a
blast and
person,
just blast through there. And then I'm going to go another 2 hours doing this. And then, like, I just section off. But also, like, you're going 1,000% at everything. And they just keep going. And, like, for example, like, our boss at the gym, like, Darren. He's like that. He's just, like, blast through everything. So regimented. He's just, like, I'm ready to go at all times. Good. I'll do everything. We'll do everything. You want to do it? You want to work out? He's the kind of guy that's like, you guys want to work out? Let's work out right now. Let's go work out right now. Like, totally work out right now. Like, you want to do another? It's like fourth workout of the day. Like, you want to work out again? Let's work out again. Yeah. Like, he's that kind of guy. But like, I don't have that energy. Like, I need like I'm doing this for a while. Like, okay, that was an hour.
Yeah, all right. Break.
Yeah. I feel good about that. I'm gonna take a little break here.
And without going too much on a tangent, I'm not a very regimented person, but I have noticed like to help me with the anxiety of having to get some things done, I did regiment my day. I'd be like, from 7 to 9 I'm doing this, and then I would even like regiment like my enjoyment time. I just like tried it. I experimented. And I'd be like, okay, from like 7 to 8:30 I have to get this crap I have to get done, and emails I gotta get that done. And then I was like, okay, from 8:30 to this on, like I'm gonna draw. And then I was like, from 11 to 12 or 11 to 1 I'm gonna just play Last of Us. And then actually it worked out. I got all the stuff I needed done, and I actually felt really good about myself.
I think planning for recreation is good.
Exactly. But like at the same time, I'm not naturally that person. Like I'm still spontaneous in the moment. Sometimes I'm like, no, I want to do this, so I don't do that often.
No,
that was an experiment. But anyway. That's getting off the topic.
But I was just saying that like I think if you had like, and it's hard to, the thing is like, it's creating the environment and the circumstance for this to happen
for sure is
difficult.
And currently living at home it's not.
So like that's what I was saying. Like imagine if
I was moved out with friends who were like
moved out, blah, 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 and then you had like, and like let's say you just took a month or two to just like work and like whatever happens. If you draw, you do. If you don't, it's just whatever happens is fine.
Oh, that would be good.
I feel like over time, eventually you would eventually end up doing it.
No, totally.
Right, but and again, like this doesn't have to be like this year, or doesn't have to be like any. I'm not trying to like go against the school decision.
No.
I'm just saying that like a lot of people, like myself included back before, and like Bobby maybe, and like a lot of people, like, and I think about Sadi a lot too, right? When like I don't know if they've given themselves enough like room and air and time to just like be yourself and just comfortable, and then just relax and like whatever, and then eventually like the motivation of like doing stuff, I think will, because I actually just think like a lot of
see this as motivation though.
What I think a lot of what like suppresses, not suppresses, like because it's suppression, but you don't see it, or like a lot of what like stops you, like what makes you not do those things, like when you say you don't trust yourself. I think a lot of that comes from like the anxiety and the pressures that are outside of whatever, or the internal anxiety.
You need to not care. I totally am on board with that.
Well, no, not the not care thing. I just mean more of like, just it's almost the anxiety of not being productive makes you less productive. We've talked about that, right?
Yeah,
it's like, oh, I'm not making videos, and then I'm like hating on myself, and then I force myself to make a video, but then I can't because it's like it's too much pressure.
Yeah.
But if you let it just let everything just breathe and whatever, then eventually it's kind of like I know myself, like eventually, like, for example, if I haven't worked out in a while, like I'm like now I'm at the point, for example, with fitness and working out and not being like physically active and all that stuff. I know myself well enough that like if I give, like I'm not worried ever really like too much about like losing the motivation to like work out and be physically active, because I know over time, like, even if I take a month of not doing anything physically active, if somebody one day was just like, hey, want to go something, at some point I know I'm the type of person to eventually just say yeah, because I know that I enjoy physical activity. And so when I think about this stuff, is I think that like you and I are like artistic-y minded-y, like we like to do like that type of stuff enough that like I just know like over time there's a very good chance, even if it takes like and you know, it's kind of like, again, Gary, here's another Gary reference again, where he's like, you know, people are like, yeah, but like if I focus on this thing too much, then like what about my other thing, like, you know, like what about, I don't know, hockey, if I do entrepreneurship, what about hockey? And he's like, but like the good thing about hobbies is like they never leave you. Like I haven't, like, you know, like I used to love like Gundams and stuff as a child, and like, but I wasn't like old enough to know how to build them properly. And then my friend really got into them, and I'm like, oh, I was kind of jealous, but I didn't want to like jump into it because like, first of all, they cost a lot. Like every kit is like $60. Like the one that he collects, everyone's like $60 plus usually. And I'm like, if I jump in, and he has so many already, so I don't want to start in like, he has like a bajillion. I'm like gonna start with like one. And then like I don't want, and then I would have to get more, and then I'm like, that's just expensive, right? Like I'm gonna get like $400-500 like within the first couple months. I'm just be like, yeah, I want another one. So it took me a long time to like even warm up to like I wanted to, but it's like it's a lot, right? Because, and also he built them better. I'm like, I'm always at his house, and you always see them, and you're like, I don't know. But then eventually, like now, like I started, I collect a different scale. I collect the 1/44 scale. This isn't a Gundam. This is a 30-minute mission. But so I collect a different scale, and like I'm collecting my own, and like I started building them, but it's like that passion of that hobby, or like the thing that I liked from a child, like never went away. It was always there. It just came back, you know, like there's things that you'll always, like you always said, you'll always like making your comic, you'll always like doing certain things, right? And I just think that like over time, like you would eventually do it, but here's where like points more, or like on your side of that, is I know that there's a lot of, almost like every artist that it's kind of in that industry, like the comic kind of maybe movie, I don't know, like storytelling one, they almost always have like a story, or like a value, or like their principle, like what they believe in is like sacrifice and like forcing. They always have like a theme of like, at least a little bit, sometimes you have to force it
in a way.
Sure. So like one guy, for example, recently that I was like, another one example was like Tom Levine is the guy, he writes for like Dark Spawn or whatever, like he wrote like a Spawn, I don't know, he's like a very like well accredited or whatever writer. He was on the Tea with Gary Vee or whatever, and he again, like I've heard this many times, is he also said is like, yeah, like sometimes you have to sit down and force yourself to like do the work, like write like he is writer, so he had to force himself to like write, and so like I think that applies more so if you have a specific type of goal, right? Because it's like, if you have this goal, we talked about this, if you have this goal, it requires this work. So like you can't be like, well, if I feel like it, then because then you won't, like, unless again you're like Darren or whatever, like you just feel like it 1000% of the time, then obviously, you know, but it's rare to like feel like doing it all the time. So sometimes you have to force yourself because the goal requires this much work. And so that's why I see the theme of like forcing yourself a lot. And so I think that obviously like I can see where that applies to you. And I think that would apply to me. It's just that I'm trying to build mine more on like, and we'll see how well this goes, but it's just mine
working right now.
Mine's going to be like a very long, it's going to take a long time if it ever does, because I'm like, you could say I'm spreading it thin in terms of like a niche, because I'm doing everything. But as a result, I get to do exactly what I want at every given time, right? Because like, for example, like I could niche hard into like training, and I'm the training guy. I do kickboxing, and I'm the kickboxing guy. I am kickboxing guy. You know what I mean? Like I don't name my channel something kickboxing related, and I do kickboxing because that's my niche. I'm the Asian kickboxing guy from Vancouver. I could find that niche. There you go, and that would pick up like way faster. That would be like that'd be really easy to like niche into and find my following and find my thing. The problem is like I like other things. Like I don't actually like kickboxing as much as doing it 1000% of the time. I can't make my life 100% about kickboxing. And so I'd like to build it more, and that's why I have like the 3 channels, right? Like I'm trying to do this stuff with Zach with gaming and the artsy talks and all this stuff. And then I have the training channel, and then I have my own channel with the Gundams and the whatever. Like I'm, you know, but it which just spreads myself thin, and I'm not niching into one thing or whatever, but it allows me to build my foundation on everything that I like doing, like all of who I am, right? But I mean, I'm segueing into something totally different here, but
and that's my thought process.
But yeah, I mean, I think the school thing is like part of that. Like I get that too. Is like sometimes like because the difference is like you have this type of goal, I think right now that requires
in a way
this kind of work, whereas I'm just gonna do stuff and then hopefully like something happens, but like I'm just gonna do stuff.
And here's like a part of like also my mindset is like, if I'm gonna do a job so that I can be moved out and still work on the things I like and stuff, at least I would like a job that's developing the skills that help me towards the thing I like to do myself. So even if it is like we were talking about, like I just have to draw the clouds in the background, at least now I'm good at clouds, you know, for my own thing.
Yeah.
Like, and maybe some people would be like, but you're not doing every day what you like, but like I'm still building on the side what I want while still honing the skills that will help me towards that, while getting enough to pay for me to be moved out, and then I also get to make connections in the industry, so I can hopefully
I think
negotiate my way to doing more what I want and getting, I don't know, support for that.
Because you know, like GV, Mr. Gary Vee, like he's a big advocate of that approach exactly as well. Like the school part, like is if it's for you, it's for you, but the result of like building the skills, networking, and like getting into the industry are all things that he advocates, but it requires, like what you're saying is like eating the shit, which might require you to like draw the clouds, and it might require you to like do the grunt
there
work.
are other ways to do this. I could go to every fucking event possible and like message every single person on LinkedIn. Like I should do that as well as doing whatever I'm doing. Like I should go on LinkedIn and just message every fucking animator I could find and just be like, hey, give me advice. Hey, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like,
well, I was just saying that like on that note, I was thinking like it is the only reason why like I had pushback against you doing school was obviously we talked about is like financially, like it's just a lot of money.
It is a lot of money, and I've luckily put a big dent in that. But there will still be money to pay after.
But like if it was like free,
then there's no question.
I would be like, absolutely, like we should both go.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
I don't even want to do it. I'll go.
But it was just because like I know like if you like you could technically like you could teach yourself.
I could.
You know what I mean?
It's a long time, but like.
But I also think that like if you're willing to take these are the two, and I think this is good advice just generally for people that are thinking about school.
For sure.
That we've talked about this is that like if you're willing to tank the money, obviously, but also like where you're not pressuring yourself at the end of it, like if you come out at the end of it and you're like, fuck, I just like it was good, there was some good in it, but like I kind of wasted like my time and money a little bit, like I didn't get the job, or whatever, something like that, like almost a little bit how we felt about SFU a little bit, not completely, but like. But I mean, hey, we met each other, so it's like, right? So it was worth it, right?
It was worth the price tag.
Yeah. But you know, like where you're kind of like, I didn't get the job. Now I'm in debt a little bit, and like, I didn't network as much. Whatever. Like you feel like it was like, fuck, like you regretted it.
Yeah.
Then it's like maybe you shouldn't have. Like you shouldn't if you think that might happen. Obviously you shouldn't. But I think if you're willing to go into it, like I'm ready for it to just be an experience. And I'm gonna learn whatever, I'm gonna make the most of it, all that stuff, obviously. But like it's more of like just I want to try it. Like I would regret it if I didn't go, and like I'm just gonna. It's more of just like I don't know what other word to say except like an experience. It's just an experience that I want to have.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping like whatever I learn is just like a bonus, and whatever networking is a bonus, and like I'm gonna try to do all that stuff, obviously. But if it doesn't happen, like if I don't learn the skills, I don't network, and I don't get the job. That's okay, because that's not, I didn't even necessarily want that as the goal. The goal was just to go to school and experience that. Then it's worth those two things, money and just look at it as experience. The problem that I have with like not that I mean, I guess it is a problem that I have, but like where you have to be careful is if you are going because of those reasons. It's like, I want a job, like for sure. And I want to know I'm going to get a job. I want to have the skills. I'm going to for sure meet the networking people. You know what I mean? Then you're risking it now. Because now if you don't hit those things, you're like, I wasted my money and my time.
Exactly.
Now. Right?
And I'm okay if I don't get those things, as long as I get this year to focus on what I like, I guess.
Perfect.
And I'm getting trained to do so. So that is the big win there, I guess, for me.
Because at that point, then like you win already, right?
Yeah.
Because at the end, we're like, I had the experience. That's what I wanted, right?
And if I get those extra things, then that's the bonus. Like,
Because you're definitely gonna meet some people.
I'm gonna try to put myself out there as much. I'm a much more confident person than I was when we were at SFU. Whereas I think I was like, I didn't want to go up to some of these people because I'm like, I don't want to be your friend. Like,
yeah.
Or like I didn't go to the events or the clubs.
Neither did I. SFU is a very weird place.
It's a weird. It's on a mountain. Just for people who don't know, this is a university on a mountain. And it rains sideways sometimes and shit, and it snows, and everyone finishes their class and they want to get off that mountain, unless it's a nice sunny day.
I think it's also because it's more of like, it's almost like not private school, but it's like, to me, post-secondary is like it's like people think it's like the place where you're supposed to go after.
Yeah,
and exactly. Like it's funny because for example, like there was a guy, there was. I don't know about that, but there was like a guy.
Private club.
Yeah. Oh, I see what you're saying, club. Yeah. I thought you meant like a downtown, like a
no,
club.
No.
You mean like a gentleman's club?
Yeah,
or whatever. Yeah. Anyway, so someone I was talking to like at school once, like at SVU, and he was like, oh, you're not gonna like ask your parents and whatever come to graduation and all that stuff, and I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And I was kind of like, I don't really care like that much about it. And he's like, oh no, I just thought it was more like, this is when you're like going out to like the real world, and like this is like.
Dude,
it's like a big it's a big like like thing to congratulate you to, like you're making your big
some people
jump.
Go to university to delay the real world as opposed to like, hey, here's some skills to help me for the real world, whatever that is.
I always thought that was like after high school, I guess, and I thought post-secondary was like like to just get more skills or like whatever, like credits or like whatever to like get a better job supposedly or whatever. And so, like, I guess I just never saw I thought post-secondary was kind of like for like a privileged a little bit, or a little bit like more. It's a showy place, I guess, to me a little bit. Like I think we talked about. I reference this a lot.
Especially the university we went to.
Yeah, I guess I reference this a lot. Whereas like when, at that age, like where you go to post-secondary between like 18 and 22 or whatever it is, that's the year where I think a lot of people are trying to like show that they're like adults, or like they have things going for them, because I think the biggest insecurity now that you're out of school or whatever, like now that you're in school, it's like what do you do? And you want to have your list.
Exactly.
Go to law school, I have an internship, I have 6 jobs, and I have a car, like I've said this so many times on this podcast obviously, but I think that's part of why like making friends is weird, because everybody's insecure. Like everybody's like, like I have things and I'm doing stuff, right? Like like I am person, yes,
I am guy.
So it's like it's hard to like for me to like relate like to people that need to like you're not real to me. You know what I mean? You're just a list of things, and I'm like I don't care about. Like,
I hate that small talk list at a dinner party.
Whereas like you're going to school where people like they made an actual like decision. I'm like most likely out of like passion, almost like just
I would hope as much.
Like because like they want to, like it's exciting because it's not like because the industry isn't like
I think
like for sure that they're gonna job.
Oh no,
no. It's like you're going there because you want to, because it's like exciting. It's like I get to learn how to do stuff that I want to do.
I like and get more skills through it.
Yeah.
I don't think I would go back to a school that doesn't give me like hands-on practical learning. Does that make any sense? Like,
well,
because we went to SFU, and like I think I learned some really worthwhile things that I've carried throughout my life now, like concepts that I believe and like have intertwined into writing stories, or like how I talk to friends, or my philosophy on life. Like these are things I did learn in university, and they were important, and I made friends, for instance. But I wouldn't pay for those things again.
Yeah.
Like because
that was about as much as I'd pay for all of that, and probably
hypotheses.
Yeah,
I can't say that.
But I think
now I'm getting hands on. Like, here's how you fucking animate that ball bouncing. Here's how you animate like movement and speed and color. Like,
I'd warn you that you probably still will get some theory too.
No, I totally am.
And might not be super. You know why? Like that part that bugs me about that type of school shit is because I took a film course once at SFU.
Yeah,
and they're trying to teach me like certain like. This like I get like
through the ages.
Okay. So
surrealism.
don't get mad at me, film like buffs or whatever. But they're like, well, from this angle, this is trying to tell you that the character is like this. And I'm like, yeah, but I'd also like don't always like, sometimes I don't think that's true. Like obviously like, okay, if you put the camera like this, it makes him look bigger. It makes him like, yeah, I get that. That just makes sense. Like, yeah, obviously if you're looking down at someone, he
looks more dominant.
Assumedly he's smaller than you because you're looking down at him. Like, I get that. But to me, they stretched it a little too far.
Some of them stretch it way too
far. It's like, yeah, like the angle of the whatever means that. Yeah. And I'm like, no, it doesn't.
There's like, I see memes about this too, where it's like, the teacher's like, so when the author said the door is blue, he was actually referring to post-colonialism and how this was the downfall of the American economy during the 1930s. And it's like, what the author really meant, the door is blue.
Yeah. That's kind of what I mean.
Yeah, like there are things done purposefully in film. Totally, and especially with cinematography. But then there's some things where you're dissecting and it's just like, that's just fucking there, dude. Like,
but I think, you know,
conversely, they're trying to give it more credit than it deserves.
Conversely, when I'm thinking about like in school when they teach you that stuff, they probably like, they're trying to help you, I guess, too.
Yeah, that's true. And like,
they're trying to be like, if the ball moves like this, then it's probably alluding to the ball being heavy.
Yeah, exactly.
Or something
like things that. Like that.
You know, like that makes sense. That does, you know. But I guess I just get a little bit like, really, like there's a whole, we're spending like 2 hours on like, well, you know what I mean? Like, like, I don't know, I remember this, I always remember this in high school. Like, have you ever gone to, like, I'm sure you gone on field trips to Victoria? Because that's the parliament. Like,
yes, I remember doing one in like grade 4.
There's like a painting that's just like half red and half blue, and then you're like, it's just a rectangle and it's just red and then blue.
That's
and then
modern art for you,
and
man.
then and then you read
that's the biggest one, right?
And then you read the description. And it's like, it symbolizes like the British and the French or whatever, like fighting over it. And then I'm like, oh, okay, I guess so. Like,
it's like, dude, yeah.
Really? Like, I suppose, sure, I guess. But yeah. Anyway, sorry, this is getting off track. So getting back to you and your mindset.
There's totally stuff like that where it's just like a blue circle and a painting, and then you're like, oh god, it represents you know, World War II and how we need, you know,
yeah.
Sorry. So what was your question there for a second?
No, just more about your mindset and where you're at.
Well, I'm kind of done debating whether I'm going in for the right or wrong reasons.
No, but like, are you excited? Like, what about your comic?
I'm excited to go into this, but I'm also very anxious because it's like it's the paycheck thing. Like, you know, I'm making less money. I'm gonna see friends less. I'm gonna have maybe people not understanding like why I'm putting so much time into this or what this means to me.
I mean, I also
there's a potential I go and I don't like anybody in my class, you know, like there's or the teacher, I don't agree with their philosophy or like, you know, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Or I have a mental breakdown because it's so much work. I don't know, like who knows what will happen. I'm just excited because I'm already thinking about like my final projects. Like I think I'm going in with the right mindsets because I'm knowing what I want out of this. And it sounds like from what I've gathered and information, like there's the room for me to already, like I talked to a few people done the program. They're like, yeah, totally start thinking about your final project and like, don't make it too much, but like do what you want. And your teachers will help you guide you on how to make that. I'm like, perfect. Like that's awesome. And then I can show people and hopefully we'll see if I get a job or not. Who cares? I got the skills now. And like that'll go towards what I want to do. My comic, that's something I am afraid I won't have as much focus on that, but I'm trying to intertwine that into what I'm doing too. But right now I'm pretty excited. I finished 10 pages, which doesn't seem like a lot. It's a really detailed comic for me.
I think when I see your pages, I'm like, that's a lot for me.
It's a lot of work.
10 pages, that's like a lot of work. That's a lot of work.
Because they're fully colored and everything, and like, so I have that done.
Like his aren't like, because I feel like it's like there's different ways to do comics.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Because
I could be doing the manga black and white. I should have done that, honestly.
Like, oh really?
No, I mean like, I'm doing it the way I want to do it.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to make the comic I would have wanted to read.
Yeah.
But if I didn't have that in me, where I'm like, no, it needs to be colored. I want to use color to portray things, and I want everyone to have it at the best quality possible. But if I didn't have that in me, I'm like, hey, I can crank it out black and white way quicker.
Because I was thinking about that. You know, like I'm not saying by any means that like doing like a traditional like Japanese manga
No,
or
there's
like manga,
so much shit
like
that's good.
whatever. Like I'm saying that's still difficult.
That's so tough.
But also I think
I look
that,
at Berserk and I'm like, oh my god, I wish I could draw like this.
that's true actually. Like but I think like there's easier ways to do
Yeah.
like a black and like if you're good at drawing characters. And if you just draw the characters and like you don't really draw like a very detailed background, because I think a lot of like there's a lot of mangas that live off that, right? Where it's mostly like characters, expressions, drawing really good characters, kind of backgrounds, but not really. Kind of just very little. Like they have like the first panel is the background to set the setting, but the rest is kind of just the people.
I'm kind of having to learn to do more of that because with this comic, like my last comic, I did way more of that where I'd be like just color in the background, and like the first scene you see like, oh, this is where they are, but then the background's just like red, and I'm trying to do more of that again, but I keep drawing every background and it's like, what am I doing? I'll draw things and I'm like, a speech bubble is gonna cover this, like stop. That's why I did the 10 pages and I have to do tweaks on all the pages, but some of it I started to be like, hey, I'm gonna not do that part because I'm gonna just put the speech bubbles in and see what I need to draw.
Well, see, that's the other thing is like you have to you're getting better at like the process of figuring out.
I'm getting a lot quicker too
because you'll figure out like, okay, maybe I should figure out the speech bubbles before I do the background.
And I think about how much I used to like my art wasn't as good, but I also way overthought the first initial part of drawing the page. I could do one of those in a night now. And to a point where I'm actually happy with how it looks. Like,
see, like because I always wanted to do a comic.
Yeah.
But I think I would probably.
You stare at the page and you're like, oh god, and then you're like looking at reference art and like I need to find like a cool one with the proper angle or a picture that would help me.
Well, I was just thinking like when
that's how I used to be like, sorry.
Like, have you read a manhwa, like the Korean mangas?
No.
And they're like, or like webtoons, like web comics that are just like those, they're just kind of like you just scroll down and they're just kind of like just squares.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, and I'm like, I'd probably just do that, like, because it's that's like fine. That's the cool. Easiest way, like, because I don't even want to think about like if in a full page I got this half of the page with the, and then it's kind of this one's cutting into that one.
I have fun thinking of that stuff, but it's tough. Like you do have to think about like, okay, they're naturally reading from that to that side, and like, are they gonna get confused and like.
Like I can add some stuff when when they have the big one and then have the like smaller and it's kind of trails off. It's like to like have that feeling of like disappearing or something. Like I might do something like that, but for the most part, if I were to ever do a comic, it would just be the squares, just squares. So you just scroll down squares. Sometimes they're rectangles, but it's the same like dimensions. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But that's something. Yeah, actually, no. I wish I should. Hopefully, this will help me. Or like this time, like eventually I'll start drawing again, maybe more.
Totally, yeah. I mean, we should just do like YouTube or Twitch streams and just stream just doodle
stuff. Yeah.
I would like to do more. Like, I hope we could do more of that stuff on this channel as well.
That's
and just be more comfortable with being like, hey, I got some time. I'm just gonna live stream me at home and I'm just gonna shoot the shit, or like, hey, I have to go. I don't know. I'm gonna do a workout at home, and you go.
Really?
Sometimes I watch people do that I like.
That's interesting.
Like that Nathan Barnett guy. Like he's like at home, and he's like, I'm just gonna do my home workout, and we're gonna talk. And like he answers questions.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, and it's just like for some reason I like those streams the most because I just get to watch him talk and answer questions.
See, that's the thing.
When he's playing a game, it's like, oh, okay, where do I go in this game? And it might not be a game I like, and I don't know, like.
Yeah. I mean that's the thing is like having that type of following is so like it's so intriguing to me. I guess like it's so like because like not that we have like that much or anything, but like I can kind of tell like some people like for example like there's been a few like 2 or 3 people maybe that like messaged me since I haven't been posting and they're like, hey, what happened, like are you okay, like what's going on and whatever. And I'm like,
that's crazy, like that they care.
I'm like, you care, like wow, like
that's awesome, dude.
Like thanks for even noticing that I just did. Like I mean very like I'm flattered, like I'm very humbled that even, you know what I mean,
like people cared enough to check in. That's awesome.
So I think, and that's the other thing is like I know I guess this belongs more in the first podcast, whatever. But I know that like I feel like I'm on the right path because of that type of feedback. Like I always think about like, you know, like first you're like how do you know you're like doing the right things, or like how do you know it's working, or how do you know, you know, and most people measure that by numbers, like how many views and how many likes. Whereas like I like the reason like there's a reason why you would measure those things.
Yeah.
but the reason, like, for example, I always use the example like 9gag or something.
Mm-hmm.
Like 9gag might have a bajillion likes and follows and whatever, but I would never buy a 9gag t-shirt, and I would never
because
whereas like the goal, if the goal is like, or it's talking like Joey versus Joey, who is a personal, he's trying to be a kickboxing like person, he is a personal trainer, like, and he's like, he just made the jump to almost being full-time on that almost, and so like he only needs like 10-15 clients to like survive, right? He doesn't, which means like it doesn't matter really how many followers, if he has like 200k followers or 5k followers.
That's exactly what I was about
if
to
he just has like 15 clients consistently,
if you had 100,000 followers, but you're not the number one person for them, like that, they're like die hard, they're investing in your life, it's just like, oh, you have general content that I like, it's like, you have 100,000 people. The guy that has only 1,000 followers and like, you know, 500 of them are die hard fans, and they're willing to buy whatever merch you have or support you any way they want, that's way better than whatever.
Well, that's that article that whatever, that 1,000 true fans, the true fans.
The 1,000. Oh yeah, it's like think about this: 1,000 people bought your $20 shirt. That's $20,000 right there. I don't mean to make this about money. I'm just saying like you could get support that way.
Yeah, and I mean, like, the other thing I was saying about that too is like that gives
people
you
that tell people like this guy is amazing. Like they're the ones that are going to use the word of mouth. Which
this is literally important. The article. I think you just read the article and now you're just summarizing.
I wrote the article. No, I'm just kidding. Sorry, go on.
But I think that's more and more reason to actually just be more truly yourself and not niche. Because the problem, like when you do,
being yourself can be niche.
That is the niche, that's the Gary Vee thing, right? It's like you are your own niche by the more like you are yourself, the more niche you'll be, because you're like, I like Gundams and I kickbox and I like nerdy stuff, and like that combination of who I am makes me special and find my own niche and whatever. Whereas like if I was just the kickboxing guy, there's a lot of guys that look like the kickboxing guy, right? There's a lot of kickboxing guys. And so I think, like, I don't know, the feedback that I've gotten is the qualitative feedback that I think is, like, it's in the right direction. You know what I mean? Yeah. Whereas, like, even, like, I could have had a video, or we could have had a video that, like, got a bajillion views, and that would have been fine. That would have helped because that would have, like, spread our whatever. Yeah. But the qualitative feedback that we got may not have been what we wanted. So, for example, it might have been like, oh, like, you're not... It's like, you know what's funny? It's like, you know, when you make a thing and people like it, they're like, oh, I don't know. It was like, you were funny there. And like, I might get like caught up in that and be like, fuck, I should make more funny stuff because I want more people to like it.
I currently see someone who just got like meteoric rise and they're just doing the same joke over and over. And now their fans are backlashing because they're like, dude, do new material. Like your day's up, you know, like your moment of fame is over.
And that's kind of what I mean is like, you have to be able to like, put out the stuff that like may not get like as much feedback, like likes, whatever, comments and whatever, like as much like what's, I guess, like whatever, I don't know what the word is for that, but like as much attention, I guess.
Oh, like positive feedback, or sorry,
just anything, like likes and like the like numerical, I guess.
Just say attention, I guess.
Yeah, attention or whatever. Like I always use, like I use the example of like, you know, I put stuff out about my cat, right, or my girlfriend's cat or whatever. It's like, that's not going to get nearly as much attention as some of the other stuff I might put out. Because I know a lot of people don't follow me for that. But a few people that like both things, right, or whatever, like they like kickboxing and they like cats, like, oh, he has a cat. Yeah. Like, that's cool. Exactly. Like, that's really cool. Like, that adds the context, and that brings them closer to being one of those like true fans. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like knowing, like, I don't know, a big one for me is like knowing someone, like I have value in them because they're a kickboxer, or they're like, I like their something, I don't know. Yeah. And then they also like anime or something. That's a good one for me. I'm like, oh, that's cool. You like anime too? It's like, I already liked you as a dude, and you like anime too. Like, that's super cool. Like, kind of like, what's his name that you just showed me? Keith Apicary? Yeah. Or Nathan Barnett or whatever. It's like, I already liked the stuff that Zach showed me about this guy. And then he had a video on his channel that was like, hey, animes.
Top 10 anime.
Yeah, I was like, oh, fuck,
right, that's... Like anime.
Yeah, like, that's fucking
like video games and stuff. Yeah.
Like, that's super cool. And so, like, that's the play that I'm making. Is that, like, I like and do all these things. And so, like, I think that'll, like, build that, like, foundation of people that, like would be interested in
always that off chance that, like some person that is like interested in what you're doing will become invested once they see like, oh, he doesn't really show this as much, but like he has a cat and I love cats, you know, like that makes me like love this guy so much more because I thought he was just the boxing guy, you know, like you know what I mean. Having that extra layer
of context,
exactly, like people want to go below the surface a bit. They want to see what's
because like if you can bring value in one aspect and get them like in that, and then bring the context that they like for example, I always bring the same example always, but there's that guy that I liked on that gave me YouTube tips, and then I found out that he used to draw and he liked anime because I saw in his background on his computer there's Attack on Titan in his background. And I was like, oh, not only does he does YouTube tips, he also likes anime, which he doesn't ever talk about, but I just saw his background. No, exactly. And whatever. It's like I'm suddenly like a little bit more invested in this guy. But anyway, so like that type of feedback that I get from people, like I think the vision that I had for it, I think is actually like it's working in a certain sense. Like I think my life is cool, that I like Gundams and I like nerdy stuff, but I also kickbox and like I think that's just a cool combination.
You're the only one that thinks that's cool, but it's okay. I'm just kidding. No, I'm joking. It's cool. I love it.
But I think other people are connecting with that. Like I think, and like especially also like the stuff that I talk about, like the struggles that I go through and like struggle with, and like how I deal with them, like recent revelations, like all the stuff that I have like in my head. I think putting out there like helps people, and people resonate with that.
I think TikTok is a good place for me to do that more.
It is, but like. I mean, it can be, and it'll skew into that eventually. But right now, I think it's not the place for it.
There, it's like you want the immediate like attention seeking.
Or a hook somehow. Like one guy, every single video, he starts with one weird way to, I think, something like that. But he's a psychologist or like a therapist or like I think he's like a CBT therapist or something. Like I can't remember. He's one of those like he helps people like with like anxiety and like he's like one of those like he's a therapist and whatever. And so like every video he's like one weird way to like help you with depression. One weird or like 3 weird ways to calm you when you're whatever like
having an anxiety attack.
Yeah, like but his hook is every video he's like one weird way.
Yeah,
which is like for some reason that hooks me because like one we're like, oh, it's a weird way to what's weird and how is it gonna help me with depression?
Fix crippling depression with this weird thing. If you eat an orange at this angle, then you.
So I think like that there is room to do that. Yeah. Right. Because I was actually like that Tom Levine guy.
You'll get a boner, and that makes you less depressed temporarily. I'm Zach Ackerman. You've been watching One Weird Way to Get a Boner. Sorry.
That could be your thing.
There we go. Here's another weird way to get a boner.
Yeah. But that Tom Levine guy, like the writer, like he's kind of like me more. Like he's like a long-winded guy. So you go on his YouTube channel, it's like 20-minute video of him like talking about like how to write a book, or whatever, and which is like I like that. I watched it, but
totally.
I think like if he, like, for example, if he could somehow package that on TikTok, like 3 quick tips on how to start writing a book, right? And then he just gives you the tips on TikTok like that. Like that's a lot of people's things, right? Like 3 things to something, and then they show you, and then they do it. You know what I mean? Like something that's like packaged in a way that's like digestible versus like you see the thing, it's like 20-30 minutes of a thing and you're sitting there and he's just kind of like talking and you're kind of like, I don't know if I have the energy for this. Whereas like he could hook people with the TikTok of like 2 weird ways or 2 tips on and then eventually I'd go check them out. So like this happens with COD, right? Where they're like 2 quick COD tips or like,
you send that to us.
I send these COD clips to.
I mean, they're helpful,
right? And then eventually like one guy started streaming. And, like, I just started watching him streaming because I'm like, well, he
clearly is good at COD.
Yeah, but it's funny because he's still building his thing. Like, there's only, 60, 70 viewers. So I'm like, oh, I don't know. I just assumed that he had, like, a big following on Twitch because he's, like, pretty good or whatever. But that's, like, I can see, like, right now, like, that's one of the ways to use TikTok is, like, bite-sized. You know what I mean? Why are we talking about that? Oh, yeah, the feedback stuff.
How it's better to have a small, diehard audience than... That big audience that honestly doesn't give a shit. They're kind of like a circus act to them.
They just use you.
They use you,
They use you for entertainment.
Are you being used right now?
Yeah.
Are we being used right now? No, we don't have the people.
But yeah, I mean, this like we talked about this too. I think you could also use the platform for like all whatever else you want to do, like for your like comic or whatever, all that stuff. But you don't have to make it directly related to the comic unnecessarily, right? Like
true.
You can put out anything about you per se. Like it's kind of like Inspired Authors is Instagram page that I follow, and they just put out like memes about writing and being an author.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. Like, you know, it's like, oh, when you should have written this, but you only wrote this or something. Just like funny like memes and stuff.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know, it brings enough value to me for at least be like somewhat interested in like what they do. Yeah. I know it sounds like kind of weird, but I see it working like that. Like I see it, you know, like I'll check, did I tell you about this guy where it's like, I don't know if you've seen that meme where it's like, reduce, reuse, ikiki, because like the R, yeah. So the R, and so like the guy's like videotaping on the wall that says reduce, reuse, and it's supposed to say recycle, but the R and whatever is gone. So then it's a funny meme where he's just like reduce, reuse, ikiki, because the R is gone. I don't know, for some reason it was hilarious to me. So then I clicked on his profile just to be like, oh, maybe there's more funny shit. And like he's a trombone player and he just does like trombone riffs. So like all his videos are like him doing trombone riffs. He
just did this one-off funny video.
Yeah, he just one-off funny video, but it like at least got me to like check out his page, and like I was kind of into like the riffs. Like if he had like a riff of like I don't know, he was doing like, I guess like, you know, like a Star Wars riff or something like that. I'm like, oh, that's good. That's pretty cool. That's actually really cool that you can do that with the trombone. I didn't even know you could do that. But yeah, I mean that's kind of what I think about with the platform. Is like you don't like the way social media and the internet works is like you don't know like how serendipitous and like lucky and like how like people will like jump into your, like, you know, how many times have you been on a random person's Instagram or like a YouTube channel or like something just for no reason, like you just somehow was on the side or in the explore page, and then suddenly you're just so like in 2014 he posted this, like, you know what I mean? You're just following this loophole for no reason at all.
True.
And so like I think that's part of that too, like building that is like having the stuff there for people to dive into, because not the worst, but like the least helpful to that is like you go on the page and there's like 3 pictures, and then you're kind of like, okay, I don't know who you are, so I don't really care. But it's cool to be like, like in 2012 he like went skateboarding, and I don't know, like it's just cool to know that about somebody, to like see someone's life.
Yeah, totally.
But I think that would apply to like you and like obviously both of us, is like if you could post more stuff about just anything. Yeah. Right. But
definitely need to post more stuff. Well, that's where my mind's at going into this. I am excited. I'm anxious. I'm worried. I'm happy.
Glad.
I'm glad. I'm
sad.
I feel a little liberated. We'll see when school starts. I'll feel the opposite probably. I'm fucking trapped. Just kidding. But well, we're gonna have more of these podcasts. You'll see where I'm at. You'll see where Kurt's at.
I think you should you gotta just try your best to not be stressed at all times. I think that's a big focus for you. Myself too. I gotta
I'm
work on
worse
being
than
anxious.
you though. I'm so high strung at times. Jesus. I'll be like, I don't know. Like, if you can ask us, like when I'm at the gym and I don't know how to do something, I'm like, oh God, they need this right now. Kurt, what do I do? What do I do? And he's like, dude, you have to solve it at some point. It'll be fine. You'll get through it. The worst that happens is they're upset. They had to wait a second.
Then fuck them.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
and it's true. It's like, I don't
just wait for a second.
This person doesn't even want to carry a spray bottle. Anyways, thank you for watching our niche audience.
We appreciate you.
We do appreciate you. Hopefully,
we will keep doing
these. We need to clip these and we need to put them out there. So
we will.
I need to do that.